for some side splits. Let's do it. Oh, I'm tired. I'm stiff, which means it's perfect time to warm up. Let me get this stool out of the way. Oh, I'm gonna get the foam pad over here for later, and let's go. Oh, 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 let's warm up. Oh, oh. I'm tired. My hamstrings are tired. But it's time for us to get ready to do some side splits and hip mobility. Let's go. We're doing warm ups right away, and we are starting with some hip cars. Hip cars are all about moving your legs through their maximum range of motion here at the hip level. We're going to start by bringing our knees up as high as we can. Then we're going to open up that leg to the side. Open, 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 open. Then we're going to rotate that leg. Bring the ankle up, 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 bring it up so it's hidden behind the knee if you're looking at it from the front. If you're looking at it from a different angle, it would not be hidden behind the knee necessarily. It'd be about horizontal. All right. From here, we're going to keep rotating. We're going to bring that knee down. We're going to lift that ankle up. We're going to feel that contraction happening in our hamstrings. We're going to stop. We're going to bring the leg down and back. All right, right behind us. Flexing the hamstrings, flexing the glutes, feeling the stretch right here in the front. That is one rep. We're going to do 10 of these on the left side. We're going to do 10 of these on the right side. We're going to do 10 in reverse and then 10 more in reverse. We got a lot of reps to do. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do most of them facing you. Occasionally I'll turn around so you get a different angle. And that's enough information. Let's go. High knee. Open. Lift that knee high. Open up that hip wide. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. That's one. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. That's two. Feel free to hold on to something. Hold on to a wall perhaps for balance. And keep going. That's three. Hello, doggo. You're exploring today, huh? Oh, knee. Open. Further. Oh, bring the ankle up. Down and back. That's five. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. That's six. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. That's seven. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. That's eight. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's nine. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. I think that's 10. Woo! That's one leg. We got three more legs to do. Let's go. Stand up nice and tall. Hold on to something for balance. Keep that core nice and strong. And high knee. Open. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. That's one. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. That's two. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's three. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's four. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's five. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's six. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's seven. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's eight. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's nine. Last one. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. Whew. When you bring that leg back, I want you to really focus on bringing it back, flexing the hamstrings, flexing the glutes, feeling that stretch in the front of the hip. We are done with the hip cars going forward, but we still have hip cars going reverse. So keep that in mind, and let's get ready to go in reverse. If your legs are tired, if they need a shake, if they need a little dance, add that in. All right. Next, we're gonna go in reverse. Stick your hand out, hold on to something, hold on to the wall if you need it for help with your balance. Next, we're going to start by contracting our hamstrings, contracting our glutes, bring that leg back behind us, feeling the stretch here in the front of the hip. All right. Because this is the first move, we tend to get a little excited and go boom, start throwing our legs way far back. Oftentimes, you're not going to make the stretch any more effective by doing that. All right. And instead, you'll probably put a little too much pressure right here in the low back. Your back will get a little uncomfortable, and we don't want that. All right. So don't focus on throwing the leg back as far as you can. Focus on contracting this hamstring, contracting this glutes, and feeling the stretch right here in the front of the hip. All right. Whew. Let's go. We gotta do 10 of these. We start with going back. We're gonna continue with bending that knee, lifting it directly to the side. From here, we're going to rotate, bring the ankle up, knee down. Then we're going to rotate the opposite direction, bring the knee up, bring the ankle down. We're going to bring the knee forward. That's one. We're going to count it. We're going to do 9 more. Let's go. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 2. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 3. I'm going to face you for the rest of them so it's easier to mirror. All right, let's go. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. I think that's 4. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 5. 5 more. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 6. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 7. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 8. 2 more. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 9. Last one. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 10. Whew! Oh man, we're flying through these. One last hip to go. Oh, if your hips are tired, that's okay. Do a little hip circle, do a little rotation, shake out those hips, do a little dance, and when you're ready, let's continue. Stand up nice and straight and tall. Keep that core strong. Hold on to something for balance, and let's begin. Bring that leg down and back. When you bring it back, flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes for the stretch right here in the front. Lift that leg to the side. Rotate the ankle up. Bring the knee down. Rotate the ankle down. Bring the knee up. Bring that whole leg forward. That's 1. We're doing 9 more. Let's go. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. 2. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. 3. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 4. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. 5. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. 6. I'm a little bit off balance, so I'm going to rotate. I'm going to hold on to the wall for a little bit of support, and we're going to continue. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 7. 3 more. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's 8. Back, side. Remember, these hip cars are about trying to use your muscles to lift your leg into the deepest, most crazy position you can. I think that's 9. We got one last one. Let's go. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. Oh, that is all of our hip cars. Oh man, that is our first warm-up exercise. If you're just joining in, we're doing 45 to 60 minutes of live side split stretching and hip mobility. We do this every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, to make the suffering we're about to do a little bit more fun, a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit easier to stay consistent with. So if you need help with your side splits, if you want to work on your hip mobility, if you need a little bit of assistance with consistency, there's a lot of this sounds in that word. Make sure to hit follow, hit subscribe, and keep coming back. We started 11 minutes ago. We start at 9 p.m. every single day, Monday through Sunday. And tomorrow's the weekend. So if you prefer to start your mornings with this show at 9 a.m. in the morning Eastern time, we also have this show on the weekends. Cool? AKA tomorrow and the day after. So come back for that. In the meantime, let's get into our second warm-up exercise. It's a little bit more chill. We are doing some elephant walks. I want you to start by folding at the hips and bring your belly button down towards the ground. Whee! When you're here, if you have a tight low back, you spent the last couple of hours today sitting, you might feel like it's slowly lengthening. Your back is relaxing a little bit, and that's good. That's what we want. Inhale, exhale, relax. From here, we're going to add a little bit of movement into the legs. All right, we're going to bend one leg. We're going to straighten out the other leg. We're going to focus on folding our belly button down towards the ground. Then we're going to switch. Other side. Boom. From here, we're going to keep switching. Boom. And boom. And boom. And boom. And boom. And whew. Once you've done these for a little bit, you'll start really feeling it in your hamstrings. And you might also feel it up here in the butt. All right? Don't worry about it. Keep going. I'll explain what that is. Chances are your hamstrings are tight, and your hamstrings at some point up here towards your butt becomes tendons, and those tendons eventually attach to the bottom of your pelvis. When you are folded forward like this, the bottom of your pelvis is actually right where your butt kind of is. And so it's highly likely if you feel like you're feeling this in your butt, you're actually feeling it in that tendon-ish area where your hamstrings attached to your pelvis. All right. Ooh, once you've done this for a little bit, and you're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable, I want you to focus on folding a little bit deeper into the stretch, and then doing a couple more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. That is our second warm-up exercise. Pop into a squat. Come on back up into standing. And that is warm-up exercise number 2. We're going to move on into number 3. Is thoracic rotations. The thoracic spine is pretty much under your neck and above your low back, somewhere around here for most people, and is designed to move pretty good. All right. Most of us are going to be a little bit tight because we spend most of our day doing something like this. All right. But if you spend some time getting them more mobile, it might help with a whole bunch of things, including helping your low back suffer a little bit less. So why does your low back suffer? Is because oftentimes when your hips are tight and your back is tight from sitting and hunching over, your low back has to do a lot of the heavy lifting to help you move. All right. A lot of people end up in a position where it looks like they're sticking their butt out and they're trying to stand up straight, and then they're doing something like this with that arch in their back. I'm exaggerating a little bit, obviously, but if you're something like this and then you decide to run around with this kind of bend in your back, it's going to have low back pain symptoms. It's very common. All right. So what we're going to do is help relax some of that upper back, so at least you can stand up a little straighter, a little bit more comfortably. And we're not focusing on the low back, but keep an eye out for that. If you see it, if you recognize it, if you see it in the mirror from now on, and you go, that might be something I need to work on, keep a mental note, work on that. All right. We're gonna get on with the rest of the show. I don't know where this tangent came from. We are moving on with some thoracic rotations. All right. What we're gonna do is get into the position we're just in, where one leg is bent, one leg is straight, our belly button is down towards the ground. We're taking the hand from the bent leg side. We're gonna reach across to the other leg, the straight leg. We're gonna push off that shin. And we're gonna help rotate and open up our chest and our back. All right. We're sticking the other arm up into the air. We're rotating the neck to look at that hand, and we're going to inhale. We're going to exhale and we're going to reach over our shoulder. Ready? Exhale. Reach. Whew. That is half a rep. We're going to do 5 of these in total. We got to finish up our first one by finishing off that side. This leg is now bent. This leg is now straight. Arm from the bent leg side reaches across to the straight leg. Push off that shin. Open up that chest. Look up at that hand. Breathe. On the exhale, reach a little further behind you. Feel free to do 2. Inhale. Exhale. That is 1 rep. We got 4 more to do. Let's go. Bent leg, straight leg. Bent arm on the straight leg. Push, open, look at the hand, neck is rotated, breathe. Whew, that's 2. Keep going. Other side. That's 2. We have 3 more. Let's go. Bent leg, straight leg, bent arm, straight leg, open, breathe. That's 3. Oof. Other side. Whew. I talk fast. That does not mean you have to move fast. Try to stuff a lot of information in so somebody coming into the live for the first time has enough to get started, to get going, to not feel like, oh, I don't know what's going on. All right. And that does not mean you have to go very fast. It just means that I hope you're filled with information because the words coming out of my mouth are filling up your brain. All right. Leg is bent, leg is straight. Arm from the bent side to the straight leg. Push off that shin. Look up at the hand. The neck is rotated to look at it. Breathe. Exhale. Reach. I think this is 4. We did 3, right? 3, 4. Whew. Other side. Exhale. Reach. We got 1 last rep. Bent leg, straight leg. Bent arm, straight leg. Open it up. Look at the hand. Neck is rotated. Inhale, exhale, reach. That's 5. That's the last one. Other side. And that is some thoracic rotation. Feel free to throw your shoulders, hug yourself, slap your back from in front. Feel a little movement going for those shoulders. Feel free to do some body rolls, work that spine, and let's move on into our fourth and final warm up exercise. All right, we're gonna do some Cossack switches. They look a little bit like this. I'm gonna demonstrate real quick. You do not have to join in just yet. We're gonna warm up our warm up, and we don't have to go into that. Let's go. The Cossack switch looks a little bit like this. We're doing a deep squat on one side, and we're basically doing a side split on the other side. We're trying to sink as low as we can. Once you're here in this position, we're going to try and bring our hips over to the other side. We're going to try and sink a little bit deeper, and then we're going to come back. Boom. That is one rep, once to the left and once to the right. For most of us, our ankles, our knees, our hips are not going to be quite ready for that. So to warm up our warm up, we're going to come back into a standing position, slowly come down into a squat looking thing. And from the side, I want you to focus on trying to fold and hug your knees into your chest or chest into your knees and try to get yourself into a little compact package where you're feeling a nice stretch here in your Achilles tendon and in your calves. All right. If your heels are off the ground, that's totally fine. We prefer it actually because we want that nice intense calf stretch. Cool? All right. Chill, relax, hang out for a little bit. As your muscles relax, as they get a little bit more comfortable, we're going to add a tiny little bit of movement. How much movement is entirely up to you. If it feels uncomfortable, you're feeling off balance, you're feeling scared, you can stop. If it feels okay, if you feel like you're ready for a challenge, add a little bit more motion. All right? Push one knee forward, pull the other back, push the other leg forward, pull the other leg back. All these others, and push that leg out to the side, other leg out to the side, push them both to the side, do a little dance, have fun with it, and move. We're just trying to be real gentle, get a little bit of movement for our knees, our hips, our ankles, because they're going to be moving a lot more real soon. And if you want to start a little earlier with a little bit of movement, that's going to make things a little bit easier in a little bit. I think I see a big long comment from Chereth. Let's see. Chereth says, "Thank you so much to Travel with Roxy. I hope you're having a wonderful night." Oh, that's so nice. Okay. Whew. We're going to move on into our Cossack switches. All right. Hopefully, your ankles, your knees, your hips are a little bit more relaxed. Let's go. What I want you to do is stay in that deep squat, squished position. But next, I want you to stick your hands down into the ground. Nothing fancy. You're not going way forward, not going way back. You're going straight down. All right. Right in front of your feet by, I don't know, 4 inches, 5 inches. From here, we're going to extend our other leg off to the side. We're going to plant this heel down on the ground. This is important for stability, so keep that heel planted. All right. Next, we're going to try and deep squat the best we can. If you are new to the show and you're just getting started and this is the deepest you can go, fine, perfect, great. This is where you're at and this is where you're going to progress from. If you are a little bit more experienced or you're just more flexible, you've been training for a while now, maybe you can get a little bit deeper. Awesome, great. Get however low you can. From here, whether you're here or here, our next step is to get our butts over that way to the other side. You can put your hands down for a little bit of support, do a little shimmy, do a little wiggle, help bring your hips over to the other side. If you're a little bit higher, it might be a little bit easier. You can just lean over to the other side. All right. Once you are here, I want you to exhale. I want you to sink a little bit deeper into that side. And see if you can get a little bit lower to the ground. All right. Then contract those muscles, get ready to come back. Beep. Boom. That is one rep. We're going to count this one. We're going to do 9 more. All right. Keep going side to side. Ready? Left or whatever direction this looks like for you. Back the other way. That's 2. Keep going. If you feel like you don't need your hands anymore, you're feeling really strong and balanced, feel free to skip the hands and keep going. We just did 3. Now we're at 4. Keep going. We're doing 10 in total. I think this is 5. At this point, if this transition from side to side is starting to make your knees a little bit achy, you can change up the way you're doing these. All right. Instead of just going across at the lowest point possible, feel free to come up a little bit, then come across, then come down. Back up, across, down. That's 6. One more. Up, across, down. 7. Up, across, down, still 7. With our last couple of reps, we got some bonus opportunity. You can turn this, or you can keep going with these. Put your hands down, come on across. Put your hands down, come on back. You can also do some squats, all right? I want you to power through with this leg that's in the deep squat. I want you to go boom! 1 rep. Come on back down on the other side. Inhale, exhale. Try to relax. Get ready, contract those muscles, and boom! Follow up with another squat. We got one last rep to do. Come on down. And squat. Other side. And squat. And that is 10 reps of our Cossack switches, our Cossack squats, our Cossack slidey things. If you are feeling tired, that's absolutely okay. We are done with our warm ups.
Someone asked, what can you suggest for someone that has swelling knees, hard to bend but want to strengthen them?
That is a tough question. Thank you for reading it. If you have swollen knees that are struggling to bend and you want to strengthen them, I would probably not start with big dynamic movements like the ones I'm demonstrating. I would probably focus on slow isometric exercises, and that might look something like this. I'm going to take a quick pause in our regular programming and talk about it real quick so you get the value and you don't have to wait till the end of the show because the rest of the show might not be that useful for you. All right. If your knees are swelling, I would recommend you focus on building up the muscles with as little movement as possible. Okay. And I think what you could probably do is imagine that you are trying to hook your leg in and trying to bring your heel towards your butt. All right. And you don't have to do this fast. You don't even have to move. The goal is to contract the muscles as if you were about to do this, as if you were about to pull your leg in towards you, but not actually go anywhere. When you contract the muscles, that is how those strengthen, right? Putting isometric effort into the contraction is going to help strengthen the muscles, but without actually moving them, you might not irritate the knee. You might not mess with that swelling anymore. I think that is the best that I can do for you. So I hope that helps. Again, it is maybe having a slight bend in the knee, and then is imagining that you're trying to pull that leg in towards you, right? Like you otherwise would be able to pull it in, but maybe even extending your arm out so that you can't, you're pushing against yourself, keeping that leg stuck, and you're trying your bestest. You're contracting all these muscles in your legs, trying to pull the heel in without actually moving very much. All right, give that a try, and I hope that helps. All right, back to our regular programming. What are we doing? We just finished up our fourth warm up exercise, which means we're going to move on into our main show. We're moving into the stretches. If you're just joining in, we're doing 45 to 60 minutes of live side split stretching and hip mobility. It's already 20 something minutes deep. I think it's going to be definitely a 60-minute show. um, we do this every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, to make the suffering we're about to do for our side splits a little bit more fun. So if you like those ideas, consistency, hip mobility, side splits, make sure to hit follow, make sure to subscribe, and let's get into our stretches. The first stretch we're going to do is a hamstring stretch. I recommend you go grab a little bit of a cushion for your knees, and that is because we're going to drop into the stretch like this with one knee down on the ground, one leg extended out in front. And you're very welcome, person in the chat who asked the question. I'm a little too far away from it, but I was just close enough to read the thank you. All right, next. From here, we're going to focus on folding our belly button down towards our thighs. All right? Wee-hoo. When your hamstrings are starting to feel tight, they're feeling like, ooh, you can pause right there. And I want you to focus on chilling and I want you to focus on relaxing. All right? Wee-hoo. So, to chill, to relax, I want you to inhale. I want you to relax and exhale. And I want you to flop your body over that leg. All right? If your back is slightly bent, it's okay, it's fine. From here, I want you to add a little bit of movement. A lot of the time, our hamstrings don't get stretched when our legs are perfectly straight. We need a little bit of help. And it oftentimes will be very helpful if you give that knee a slight bend and you focus on bringing that knee to the chest for a little bit. Whether it's you pulling the knee up or you bring your chest down to that leg, when you do this, your hamstring gets a little bit of extra stretch. And this is actually the shape we want to work towards, right? But with the legs straight. So work on this leaning back, leaning forward, straightening out, bending the leg for a couple of reps. Doesn't have to be crazy. 3, 4, 5 is plenty. And once you've done a couple of those, come back into that straight leg position and breathe, relax. Drape that leg, or drape that body over that leg. From here, we're going to do something I call the inhale, exhale, fold. All we're doing is taking a big inhale, slow exhale. We're going to focus on trying to bring the belly button down to that thigh as much as we can. All right? Now that you know what we're doing, let's go. Inhale, big inhale. Exhale and fold. Fold, 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 fold. Bring that belly button down. And once you're feeling pretty stuck for the moment, feel free to chill. All right? Once you're here, feel free to do that little knee bend thing again and straighten out the leg. Knee bend and straighten out the leg, and knee bend and straighten out the leg. See if it gets a little bit more comfortable hanging out in that deep stretched position. Right now, if the neck, if your mid back, your upper back is feeling a lot of tension because you're trying to smash your face into your knee and you're rounding and you're rounding and you're rounding and you're rounding, stop. This is a hamstring stretch. All of the stretch comes from the angle of your hips and where your belly button is touching your thigh, essentially, right? Everything above your belly button does not have to be working so hard. So let those muscles relax. Chill. And inhale. Exhale and relax. All right. We're going to do one last inhale, exhale, fold. We're going to do a little bit more than knee bending after that. And then we'll be doing 30 seconds of just holding it and chilling. All right. Let's go. Big inhale. Exhale and fold. Fold, 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 fold. Exhale. Woo-hoo-hoo! You should be much deeper into your stretch than when you first started. If you are feeling like it's a little intense, give yourself a little knee bend. Straighten out that leg again, knee bend. Straighten out that leg again, knee bend. Straighten out that knee again. And if it feels like it's too much to straighten out that leg, you can always keep it slightly bent. All right? Focus on bringing the belly button down towards that thigh. And we're ready to hold 30 seconds. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. 8, 7. If it's intense, you can bend the knee a little bit. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Woo! That is our hamstring stretch. Woo, woo, woo. If you were doing a lot of back and forth into the knee bend, straighten, please don't do it explosively. Please don't launch yourself into that straightened leg. Slow down. Be gentle. You don't need to pull a muscle because we're going back and forth. All right? Alrighty, let's switch over to the next leg. Both knees are down. Extend one leg out in front. Fold, bring your belly button down to that thigh. Whee! And focus on chilling. Inhale. Exhale. Relax. Feel that stretch get a little bit more intense. Focus on doing a little bit of knee bend, a little bit of straightening, a little knee bend, a little straightening, a little knee bend, a little straightening. Remember, your neck, your upper back, your mid back should not be feeling a whole bunch of pressure. If they are, relax those muscles. You are not trying to smash your face into your knee. You're trying to focus on bringing your belly button down. Anything above the belly button that's working hard right now, it's time to chill. All right? From here, breathe one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Flop over that leg. One more knee bend. And we're going to inhale, exhale, fold. We're going to take that big inhale. We're going to slowly exhale. And then we're going to fold our belly button down to the thigh as much as we can. You ready? Let's go. Big inhale. Exhale and fold. Woo. If you need to, give yourself a slight knee bend. Knee bend some more. Straighten it out a little bit. Knee bend some more. Straighten it out a bit. Knee bend some more. Focus on bringing that belly button down. Chill. Breathe. Relax. And let's go. One more. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Fold. Big inhale. Exhale and fold. Woo. 30 seconds. We're ready to go. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Remember, this is about bringing the belly button down to the thigh. If that knee is slightly bent, that's okay. If you can, straighten it out. If you're finding you're having a difficult time, bring your belly button down. Bend that knee a little bit more. Focus on folding, and then see if you can slowly straighten out that leg again at the end. All right? 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. If you want, you can take your fingers, you can stab them into your hamstrings and give them a light massage. You don't have to have any skills, just poke your leg in a whole bunch of places and that'll distract you from the sensations that your hamstrings are feeling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zero. That is our second hamstring stretch. If you found that one leg is more flexible than the other, that is normal. Just like how you have one hand that's probably a lot more skilled than the other, you probably do some version of relying on one leg to do all the jumping, to do all of this first step taking, to whatever it is that you got to do. Pedal on the bike, that first leg that stomps down is probably always the same leg. That leg is probably a tiny bit stronger, right? So, a little bit of asymmetry is okay and is normal, and you'll go through life just fine. But keep an eye on it, and if you do have a leg that is significantly less flexible, maybe next time focus on starting with that leg because we spent a little bit more time explaining the first leg. All right, let's move on to stretch number 2. It's a little bit faster, a little bit chiller than a hamstring stretch. We are going to do something called the butterfly stretch, and I recommend you sit with your butt up against the wall so that your hips, your low back, your shoulders, your back are all against the wall. I'm gonna do something a little bit different for me today, but you don't have to do anything different. I have been pretty good in the butterfly recently, so I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit lower. But what I want you to do is stick your butt against that wall and focus on bringing your legs in towards the center of your body. All right, boom, like so. We're pulling our feet in towards our groin, and we're in this position. All right. The butterfly stretch is a groin stretch, which means you want to feel it here in these inner thigh areas. The way we make that stretch more intense is by bringing our knees down into the ground. I want you to start by using your muscles, your outer thigh muscles, your glutes, to try and pull your legs down all on your own. I have noticed that these blocks are not at all fun to sit on before we start, so I'm going to get rid of those real quick. When you are here and using those muscles, you might be a little confused. You're like, how do I use those muscles to bring my legs down? What is happening? Just focus on two things. One, you're going to feel a bit of a stretch here, growing, increasing in the inner thighs. You're going to see your knee move just the teeniest little bits down into the ground. If you've satisfied those conditions, you're fine. You don't have to keep focusing too much more on it. All right. Next, we're going to take our hands. We're going to apply a little bit of pressure into the legs. This is why we're against the wall. I want you to push the legs down and see if your legs just drop a little closer to the ground. If they do, awesome. That's what we want. When you're pushing your legs down, you might feel the back of your head or your shoulders pushing into the wall behind you. This is why we're leaning against the wall, so you don't fall rolling backwards. And that's basically normal. All right, we're gonna hold this for 30 seconds. Every time you exhale, I want you to see if you can push your legs down a little bit deeper. I'm gonna get back onto my little blocks to see if I can get my knees to open a little bit further and get a little bit deeper into my stretch. All right, you don't have to do this. You can just focus on opening up. All right, let's go. Push those legs down. Inhale. Exhale. See if you can push a little bit deeper. Inhale. Exhale. See if you can push a little bit deeper. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. If you've taken too many breaths and you're like hyperventilating a little bit too much right now, you can slow it down. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. I think Keisha on YouTube asked yesterday. I don't know if Keisha you're on today because I'm way too far away from the phones to be able to see anything. If you are, Keisha asked if you can use weights to let your weights bring your legs down. You absolutely can. I usually try to run this show with as little equipment as possible, and that is why we set up with our arms pushing our legs down. All right. 5. Keep pushing. Keep trying to bring those legs down. 3, 2, 1, 0. That is our butterfly. Let your knees go. Relax the hands. Your wrists might be a little bit tired. You can give them a little flop. If your legs are also tired, you also want to flop them to get them moving again. If you can, try to bring your legs up and let them drop. Bring your legs up, let them drop. Maybe bring them up and down and not just let them drop. And if your legs are struggling to move right now, you can grab them, you can give them a shake and be like, hey, hey, wake up, we got stuff to do. And do the same on the other side. Hey, hey, wake up, we got stuff to do. And once you give them a shake, they should feel a little bit easier to move. All right? When your legs are moving, ish, you are ready to move on into our third stretch, the standing pancake. Let's go. Ugh. You can get rid of everything else that we've been using so far. And the standing pancake looks a little bit like this. We're going to open up our legs nice and wide. Make sure you're not feeling any sharp discomfort here at the hips. If you're feeling pain, you've gone too far. Bring your legs back in just a little bit until that pain goes away. If you can move a little bit here with your legs wide, you're probably good. All right. From here, we're going to focus on taking that belly button and bring it down towards the ground. And it looks like this. Whee! Folding forward. This is our starting position. All right. From the side, it's going to look a little bit like this. We're just making this little right angle. All right. The goal of the pancake is to bring your upper body in between your legs. We're really folding. We're folding, we're folding, we're folding, we're folding some more, and we're getting real deep. And it's really hard. So we're getting gravity to do as much of the work for us as possible. The way we do that is by focusing on trying to keep our upper body horizontal. That is the angle with which you'll feel the most intense pressure from gravity pulling you down. And then if you extend your arms out in front of you, and try to stick your biceps by your ears. That will also make it a little bit harder and pull you down. And if you're really, really harsh to yourself, feel free to hold something in your hands, and that will bring you even lower. All right? From here, we got some options. If you want to, you can try to stick your legs out a little bit further so that you're lower to the ground. Up to you. You don't have to work that hard if you don't want to. If this is your first time, try to do it with your legs a little closer together. You don't have to go so extreme. Next, if your face feels like it's a little too close to the ground for comfort, you're like, ew, I don't like this. You can try to stick your butt back a little bit. All right. It's going to shift your center of balance towards your butt, and most part that will be fine if it's just a little bit. But if you feel like you're about to fall backwards because you're too far back right now, you can stick your arms out in front of you, and that will help counterbalance and it'll help you find your balance somewhere again. All right. That's it. That's a lot of words. Work folding. Bring that belly button down. Bring it down some more. Extend those arms above your head if you want to. Breathe. Exhale and try to sink a little bit deeper. And we're ready to begin. 30 seconds. Let's go. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. If at any point this gets a little crazy, a little uncomfortable, feel free to stick your hands down on the ground, take some pressure off your legs, take some pressure off that stretch. If you're not feeling crazy uncomfortable, keep on breathing, keep on trying to sink that belly button a little lower. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, put your hands down. We're done with that stretch. Whew. That was our standing pancake. If your inner thighs are fried and they don't want to move right now, consider wiggling your toes into the center of your body, wiggling your heels into the center of your body, your toes, your heels, 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 until your legs come in underneath you. All right? When your whole body is kind of underneath you, we're ready to come back up into standing. Push off those legs, push off those thighs. Oh, stand on up, and that is our third stretch, the standing pancake. We're going to move right on into our fourth stretch. It is the pigeon or the figure four. You got the option, and they have the same fundamentals. But I'm pretty sure I talked about the pigeon yesterday, so we're going to explain the figure four today. I just choose one of the two variations to explain on a daily basis. And if you're here 2 days in a row, you'll probably get both. All right. Next, they both have the same fundamentals. We're taking one leg, we're crossing it over to the other side and making this thing that kind of vaguely looks like a number four. If you're watching this at home, it might be mirrored, so it might be like a mirrored number four, but whatever. Next, we're taking that leg, we're bringing it up to our belly button, we're bringing our belly button down to that leg, we're folding, all right? And from the side, it's going to look a little bit like this. The goal of the stretch is to stretch out and really feel it here in the side of your hip. This is the glute muscle. You'll also probably feel it in your hamstrings and your outer thighs and maybe where you're actually folding downwards. All right, that's all normal. We're going to get to the figure four, and the way we do that is by taking that stretch and going onto our backs. All right, so come on down onto the ground. Relax. Floor. Laying down. So nice. All right. Next, we're taking the leg, we're crossing it over just below the knee. All right. And then we're going to take our hand from the side where the leg is crossed. We're going to reach through that triangle. We're going to take the other hand around the other leg. We're going to grab the leg that is not crossed. All right. From here, we're going to pull the whole thing in a little towards our chests. All right. Inhale. Exhale. And pull a little bit. Inhale. Exhale and pull a little bit. Inhale. Exhale and pull a little bit. Once you're feeling that stretch build because you're pulling that leg towards your chest, we're ready to begin. 30 seconds. Let's go. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That is one leg. Come on back. We're going to stretch out to the other leg. If you're regular on the show and you're like, wow, Ken's counting so fast, it's because for the first time I've had a big clock visible to me and I was just following the clock. I didn't realize I've been counting so slow this whole time. Whoops. Okay. Cross the leg over to the other side. Reach the arm through the triangle around the other leg. Inhale, exhale, pull that leg in. Inhale. Pull that leg in. Inhale. Exhale, pull that leg in. Keep going. One more. All right, 30 seconds. Let's do it. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. Keep pulling that leg in towards your chest. Hug the knee directly if your knee is feeling a little achy. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, relax everything. Lay down. That is our fourth stretch. Let your legs flop to either side. Breathe. Let your legs drop to the other side. Breathe. And let's get ready to get into stretch number 5. We're doing some side splits. All right. If you've never been on this live before, we do 45 to 60 minutes. At this point, we're like 50 something minutes deep. We're doing 60 minutes of live side split stretching and hip mobility work. We do this every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, to make the suffering that we do a little bit more fun, a little bit easier to do, a little bit easier to stay consistent with. So, If you like that, make sure to hit follow, hit subscribe, and keep coming back because we go live every day at 9 p.m. All right, let's go. Let's get into some side sprints. Whew. First thing I want you to do is get your butt up to a wall right behind you. All right. From here, I want you to take one step in front, roughly 8 to 12 inches in front of that wall. The reason we're doing this is because I want you to be able to lean your butt up against the wall. In case you start falling backwards, in case you lose balance, and you start going backwards, I want you to be able to lean into the wall and be like, oh, hey, this wasn't so bad. And I want you to be able to go, wee, come on back into your side split and continue. All right. If you do this stretch without having something behind you is entirely possible. You'll lean a little too far back and you go, oh no, I've gone too far. You'll start swimming through the air and you go, oh. And best case scenario, you land on your butt, everything's fine, just a little bit uncomfortable. Worst case scenario, you keep falling backwards, you hit your head, something crazy happens. Don't let that happen to you. Just stand 8 to 12 inches in front of the wall so that your butt can rest on the wall. All right? With that safety spiel over, we're ready to begin. I'm going to dust off my butt. And let's go. Stand 8 to 12 inches in front of the wall and get ready to open up those legs to a nice, comfortable width. All right? From here, if you're feeling a sharp pain, ache in the hips, you have probably gone too far. Bring your legs back in just a little bit and prepare to fold. Focus on bringing the belly button down into the ground. Whee! Boom. Here we are. Stick your hands down on the ground if you can. If you cannot, or if you don't want to, feel free to stick your hands onto a stool, onto a chair, onto something that can help support your body weight. All right? And we're ready to continue. From here, if you find it comfortable, see if you can open up your legs a little bit wider. All right. Next, we're going to rotate our legs so that our thigh bones do not smash into our hip bones. That is the reason why we have pain. It's because our thigh bone is smashing into our hip bone. So what we're doing is making sure that doesn't happen. The way you do that is by rotating the whole entire leg so that the thighs, bony part, goes like way back over there and then it doesn't impact your hip. Cool. All right. So our knees right now should be pointing forward. Our toes are kind of pointing forward as well. What we want to do is use that stool for support, and we want to rotate the leg. Boom, so that the heels are down, the toes are up, and the knees are up. And we got to do this on both sides. Boom, heels are down, toes are up, knees are up. Once you get into this position, you might be a little bit high up, but you are in a side split position. All right. Only thing holding you back now is the length of your muscles. So take a second. Inhale. Exhale. Try to relax. Exhale a whole bunch of air and a whole bunch of tension all at the same time. Drop a little bit deeper into your stretch. If this is your first time in the stretch, don't worry. Take it nice and slow. If anything feels a little too much, too extreme, too intense, feel free to dial it back. Come a little bit out of whatever position you're in. All right. For the rest of us, let's continue. Do a little lean to the right. Woo. Little lean to the left. Wee. Little lean to the right. Woo. Little lean to the left. Wee. And whoo, get a little bit deeper into your stretch. Next, walk your hands back towards your hips. See if you can rest your butt against the wall. All right. Use that wall for a little bit of support. Ease it up into that stretch. Make it a little chiller on your hips, on your legs. And when you are here, if your knees are pointing up and the top of your head is pointing up as well, you're probably still holding that side split position and you can probably focus on relaxing. All right. Relax the toes, relax the feet, relax the calves, relax the hamstrings, relax the glutes, relax the low back. Inhale. Exhale. Release the tension in your body. See if you can sink a little bit deeper into your stretch. All right. You might not be as low as I am right now. And if that is the case, I'm going to demonstrate a slightly higher version where I'm still using the stool. All right? Boom. You might look a little bit more like this, with your butt against the wall, with your hands on the stool. You might have your hands or your legs on the stool itself. This will depend on what you're using to support yourself. If you don't have a stool and you're using a coffee table, if you're using the coffee table, you might just be on the edge of the coffee table. All right? Cool. That's it. That's the whole thing. We're holding this for 30 seconds. Let's go. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. Keep breathing. Relax. Try to sink a little bit deeper into your stretch. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That's it. Walk your hands forward. Whew. Bring yourself out of that stretch. Bring your knees onto the ground and relax. Oh, that is our stretch. Whew. That is our first stretch. We're doing 3 rounds of 30 seconds. That was our first one. And we're going to come back into standing now. We're going to try and shake out the tension in our hips, all the crazy muscles that are flexing real hard and not wanting to stop. We're going to shake them out. We're going to relax them, and then we're going to get back into side split number 2, hopefully a little bit deeper. All right? Come up into standing. Slowly shake out that leg. Shake out the other leg. And I want you to focus on letting this ankle relax. All right? You can start nice and gentle with a little gentle flop back and forth. And as you get more comfortable with it, you can pick up the intensity, you can flop around. You don't have to lift the knee up this high. I'm doing this because I know the chat is really low and it kind of covers the feet. So I'm trying to show you what's going on. Sorry. Whew. From here, as your ankles get looser and floppier, I want you to imagine that you are a wet, soggy noodle and you're flopping all over the place. When you are flopping all over the place, your body is relaxed, your body is loose, and that is what we want to help us get into our second side split. All right? What we're doing when we shake out the ankle is making sure all of these muscles here are a little bit more relaxed, because the only way for your ankle to go to crazy places is if those muscles that control those motions are relaxed and let you go there, right? Switch to the other leg, start shaking it out. Shake a little faster, shake a little harder if you can, if it's comfortable for you. If it's ever feeling crazy, you can dial it back, reduce the intensity, focus on one range of motion that's comfortable for you, and shake it out. When you're a little bit more experienced, when you're a little bit more familiar with the movement, feel free to turn yourself into a floppy, slippery, sloppy, floppy noodle. And shake it out, flop it out. The goal here is to relax the leg muscles as much as possible. And if you're flopping around, you're probably pretty relaxed. All right. Next, we're going to move on into our hips. All our weight is in one leg. Big toe is down on the other leg. We're rotating and bring the knee in and bring the knee out and bring the knee in and bring the knee out. The rest of the body is basically not moving at all. The only thing that's moving is this thigh bone, the muscles that are pulling this thigh bone from side to side, and that's it. What we're doing is building control. We're building strength. We're building confidence in this movement. And as you get faster, as you get stronger, as you get more control, you can pick up the speed, you can pick up the tempo. All right? Whew. Switch to the other side. One leg is down, big toe. The other one is down, leg is bent. In, out, in, out, in, out. As you get more control, as you get more speed, as you get more strength here, you can have fun with it. It's a dance. In, out, in, out, in, out. Have fun. In, out, in, out, in, out. And hopefully, after all that, your hips are feeling a little looser, your feet are feeling a little looser, your legs are feeling a little looser, and we're going to get on into side split number 2. Let's go. Stand 8 to 12 inches in front of the wall. Open up those legs nice and wide. If you can go a little bit deeper, go a little bit deeper. Fold forward, bring that belly button down. Put your hands on the ground if you can. If you cannot, or if you don't want to, elevate your hands on something. It could be anything that's stable, anything that can support your weight. Stool is my personal favorite. Yoga blocks work. Some old textbooks that you don't care about, you should probably sell on eBay, but they're not worth anything. Those are great. And yeah, we can move on. Next, we're going to externally rotate the legs. So instead of having our feet flat on the ground, we're going to rotate the legs backwards 90 degrees so that the heel is down, the toes are pointing up, and the knees are pointing up. All right. Other leg, boom. Heels are down, toes are up, knees are pointing up. From here, if you can, inhale, exhale, relax, and see if you can drop a little bit deeper into the stretch. Sink a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and a little further. And try to walk your hands towards your hips so that you're resting your butt against the wall. The wall is your little stool. All right. From here, we're going to change up the stretch a little bit compared to the first one that we just did. Once you've gotten here, I want you to walk your hands forward a little bit more until you look like you're doing a push up. All right. Your hands should be underneath your shoulders. And when you get into this position, your knees should be kind of pointing up at a diagonal towards in front of you. All right. When you're here, you should be feeling a stretch in the inner thighs. That is what we want. We want to focus the stretch in this set of muscles in the inside of the thighs. And now that you're in position, we're ready to go. 30 seconds. 29, 28, 27, 26. Feel free to add a little wiggle from side to side occasionally, see if you can a little bit deeper. 24, 23, 22. If this position is a little too intense for you, you're feeling some pressure in your knees you don't like, you can always walk your hands back and go into that position that we did for the first stretch where your butt is resting on the wall. All right. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That's it. Walk your hands forward. Bring your legs in underneath you. Oh, take your time with it. Oh, that is side split number 2. Congratulations. We are mostly done. When you're ready, come on back up into standing. We're going to shake out our legs, shake out the ankles. Nice and slow to start. Pick up the tempo, pick up the speed as you get more comfortable with it, as you get more confident with it. For the regulars on this show, the more you do this, the faster your body will learn to relax. And then you'll be able to shake out less and less and less. So I don't know what you're going to do with the extra time, but you can chill. Cool. Shake out the legs. Shake, 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 shake. Flop, 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 flop. Shake out both legs. Make sure they're feeling loose. Take a couple of steps, do a couple of dance moves. Throw those hips around from side to side. Make sure everything is starting to move a little bit better. Next, we're gonna shake out the hips. All your weight is in one leg. Big toe is downward. Bring the knee in and out and in and out and in and out. This is our basic move. When you're feeling experienced, when you're feeling ready, you can try and turn it into something more fun, a little dancey. You can do some stanky leg. Pull that leg in, right? We're pulling it in into this position where that knee would have been in. And then I want you to push that leg out, and I want you to slide that leg out. So make it graceful. Pull it in, push it out. Pull it in, push it out. This leg is bent. Just have fun with it. All right. We're spending a whole bunch of time working on our hip mobility. And what you should do is have as much fun as possible with it. All right. It's going to make it a lot easier to stay consistent. It's going to make it a lot easier to feel good about doing the work because every little bit counts. All right, let's go. Hopefully, your hips are feeling a little bit looser now. If they're not quite there yet, feel free to go back to the basics. We can rotate in, out, 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 in, out. In. Bring those legs in and out. Do a little dance. Shake them out. Flop them around. Wee. Hopefully, you remember that it's not about the dancing. It's about relaxing. The dancing is just for funsies. All right, doing crazy moves is for your own entertainment. Next, we're going to move on into side split number 3. Stand 8 to 12 inches in front of the wall. Get ready. Open up those legs and sink on down. Fold at the belly button, or fold, bring the belly button down. Stick your hands in the ground if you can. If you cannot, or if you don't want to, feel free to elevate your hands with a stool, with yoga blocks, with textbooks, with a coffee table, with a chair, and sink a little bit deeper into your stretch. All right. From here, your feet should be down flat, your knees should be pointing forward. What we want to do is rotate the legs so that your heels are down, your toes are pointing up, and your knees are pointing up. This is our side split position. Inhale, exhale, relax. Inhale, exhale, relax. Exhale, relax. And sinking you a little bit deeper. All right. From here, scoot your butt back to that wall. Use it for support. Chill. Come on down. Use your books, your yoga blocks, your stool for a little bit of hand support if you're still using it. And chill. All right. This is our third and final side split. We got options. If you want to work on the version where you're going to feel it more in your hamstring and you're sitting up a little straighter, feel free to stay here where we're at right now. If you want to work on the version that is going to be felt more in your inner thighs, walk your hands forward into that push up position and feel it more in your inner thighs. All right. I am going to do a slightly different version from all of those. I'm going to sit on my butt and hope my legs are sweaty enough to grip me into the ground, and I'm going to fold forward into a pancake stretch. I'm going to do it with a tiny little bit of weight and a tiny little bit of options so that I can work on my pancake, because I believe that is the stretch that is holding me back from my side splits. So take a couple seconds, get into position, and get ready to go. We're holding for 30 seconds. We're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, 0. 30 seconds. 29. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. Ooh, my glasses fell. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, we're done. Put your body back into something remotely close to comfortable and relax. That is our third and final stretch. Bring your legs together, come back into some sort of resting position, come out of whatever situation you are in. If that means you need to slowly bring your legs together, that's great. Ugh. Ugh. That is our third stretch. We have done all of the hard stuff for today, my friends. Thank you for coming in, practicing consistency, and hanging out, working on those stretches. I hope you feel like a total badass, even though you're probably going right now. That's okay. Grunt, groan, make as many sound effects as you need to. Let's get up. Let's shake it out. Let's do some quick joint checks, and then we'll wrap up with some Q&A. All right, let's go. Come on back up into standing. We're shaking out the legs. Shake, 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 shake. Again, at this point, try to become a floppy noodle. All right, shake out all the tension in your legs, in your hips. If you can take those muscles we were using doing this, the knee in and knee out, and combine it while you flop the ankles and just go crazy with it, add it in. Make it fun, make it enjoyable. It doesn't have to follow my formula, the thing I teach you, because I'm trying to break it down into simple little pieces that anybody can hop in and start doing. All right. As you get more advanced, you can turn it into your own thing. You can own your process, and all that matters is that you're shaking out the tension, that you're loose, and you're ready to go do whatever else you need to do. All right. Let's work on the hips a little bit. If you haven't already, start shaking out your legs like crazy. All your weight is one leg, big toe is down. We're gonna go back to the basics. We're bringing the knee in, the knee out, 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 in, 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 out. So that's feeling a little bit better. Next, other side. In, out, 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 in, out. As you get stronger, faster, more controlled, more relaxed, there's another variation you can do. All right. Put all your weight into one leg, the standing leg, and you straighten out this leg a little bit. Let it rest over here on the side. No weight on that leg. You can start doing something that looks a little bit like this. You can start, this leg is slightly bent, by the way, just a little bit. You can start shaking that leg really fast, really hard, until all of the thigh muscles are completely relaxed and going all over the place. All right? If your thigh muscles are flying all over the place, good chance your thighs are relaxed. Moving on, other side. Shake, 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 shake. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Flop, 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 flop. And whew, that is our show. We got joint checks left. Let's wrap it up. We're gonna do some hip circles, nice and slow. Wee. Oh, right after side splits, you might be feeling it real strongly in the hip, in the side of the hip. Feel free to slowly work your way through those hip circles. Whew. And maybe do 2 loops in one direction, reverse it, go the other way. Woo-hoo-hoo. 1 and 2. Once you're feeling pretty okay with those, let's do a quick high knee. If your knees went up, you're fine. Next, we're going to do some calf raises from a squat. All right. What I want you to do is keep your feet directly under your hips, about that wide apart. Not crazy wide, not super close, just very neutral standing position. From here, we're going to bring our chest down towards our knees, like so. We're going to push our knees forward a little past our toes, if we can, towards the direction that our head is pointing in. And when you're here, you should feel as if you're about to fall over in front. All right? That is what we want because that's going to force our toes to really kick in, to grip the floor, force the arch of our foot to kick in and help us stay stable. And you should be feeling it in your Achilles tendon, in your calves, in your quads right now. Stick your hands down if you need a little bit of support, but we're ready for some calf raises. Come on up onto those toes. Come on down and up and down and up and down. I want you to imagine you're balancing the weight between your big toe and your middle toe, maybe your big toe and your index toe. And I want you to focus on lifting the heels straight up and down. All right. You don't have to do very many of these. Five, six, seven, eight, as many as you want. You can do three. It's fine. Once you've done a couple of those, if you were able to get most of those muscles coordinated, working well together, and pull off the movement, chances are your joints are doing good. You had your toes working with your feet, working with the arch of your foot, working with the Achilles tendon, with the calf muscles, with the ankle, with the knee, with the quads, with the glutes, with the low back. And then you figured out how to balance while leaning forward and all those things. So chances are you're probably good to go do whatever else you got to do for the rest of the day. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in, practicing consistency, working on your side splits, working on that hip mobility with me today. I hope you had fun, and I hope you remember that our most important thing is consistency. All right. You can have the best plan in the world, but if you can't follow that plan, it's not the best plan for you. For most of us, the hardest thing is showing up consistently, and that's what I hope to help you with here on this show. Right now, I'm focusing on side splits and hip mobility. And if this happens to make sense for you, then I hope we can practice some consistency, working on our side splits, working on our hip mobility together. There are a couple of principles in the show that I try to reinforce with the way the show is built, but some of that isn't super obvious when we're just doing the exercises. One of them is the show is designed to be recoverable so you can do it every day and you're not beating yourself up too bad. All right. A lot of the things that you're trying to do and you're trying to be consistent with, especially working out, has recommendations like show up 3 times a week or 2 times a week. And a lot of times that's really hard because you have off days. You get to enjoy some very different type of day than the day you're doing the thing that's important to you, right? I find, especially when you're just starting, that really throws off your groove. And that is why I do this show every single day at the same time so that I establish that schedule and I keep this thing happening all the time. Is just how my day goes. All right. If you think that's going to help you, try to add that into whatever it is that you're doing outside of side splits and hip mobility. A couple other things. We try to make this bite size. We try to make it fun. It's going to be much harder if you have an awful time doing the stretches. If you hate the thing that you're doing, it's going to be way harder to stay consistent. So I try to make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more entertaining when we do it together. All right. We don't need to go too much deeper into consistency stuff. If that sounds like something you need help to work on, you like the side splits, you like consistency, come on back, hang out with us. We can talk more about all that stuff some other day. All right. Because it's Friday night. You got other stuff to do. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. I have a couple minutes of shameless self-promotion, and I'm gonna look at Q&A. But I got a thumbs up over here from somebody whose username is period, and a thank you right before that. Boom, Bachi says I hear that. Amazing. Okay, some context. Before I started this live show doing side splits, I had wanted to do side splits for like 15 years. And it would always be right around New Year's, right around midway through the year, I'd like get a little energy boost. I'd be like, I'm gonna get it this year, I'm gonna work on it, I'm gonna stay so consistent. Typically I'd last about 2 weeks and then I'd forget about it for like 6 months. And so in 15 years, I probably restarted side splits training like 30 plus times and I never made any progress. So this show exists to be the opposite of all of that, to be the opposite of spending 3 hours looking up at YouTube tutorials, figuring out what the best possible plan is, and just focusing on doing what I can do daily, showing up and putting in some work. Is it going to be the fastest amount of results per unit of energy, unit of time spent? No, it's not. That's why they're the best plans, right? Like those things exist for a reason. But I could not follow those best plans, and I had no way of actually making the progress that those plans promised. So I'm doing my version. I'm still working towards my goal, but I'm going to show up consistently first. And then once it's become a part of my life, once it's part of my identity, showing up every single day, once I've reinforced it in my brain over and over and over again that I'm the type of person who keeps on showing up, now it's a lot easier for me to stay consistent with a different plan, right? I don't need to be doing the daily show anymore, but I found it so valuable for building up consistency that it is how I just do every day now. And I hope you guys take a tiny, tiny bit of excitement from that and go, I can be consistent because that's what I want for you guys, so that you can do whatever the heck that is you want to do. It might not be side splits, and that's okay. If you want to find some time where other people are just being consistent every day and you want to do something else, I have absolutely no problems with that. You can have this show running in the background and be like, hey, I'm here being consistent with learning a new language, and this is how I'm gonna do it together with you guys, just in my own way. I would love that because at the end of the day, I really do care about consistency. Okay, ah, shameless self promotion. I make some other content about fitness. Most of it is about trying to incorporate a little bit of movement into your daily life without it feeling like a burden, because that's not what you want things to be like. If every time you exercise you're like, ugh, this stinks, you're not going to do much exercise. All right. So I recommend you take 2 minutes when you're waiting for your coffee, when you're waiting for your ramen to turn soggy and edible, and when you're waiting for your lunch to heat up in the microwave, to do a little bit of movement. Some of the things that we do in the show, like hip cars, working on that full range of motion, as much of it as you can for 30 seconds here, a minute there. If there is one bang for your buck move that you will really benefit from, no matter how much time you spent in it, would be the Cossack switch. All right. If you spend a minute a day outside of our live doing Cossack switches, it would be really good for your hips. It'd be really good for your knees. It'd be really good for your ankles. It'd be really good for this side split. It'd be really good for this deep squat. A lot of benefits all in one move. You should definitely add a little bit of movement when you can. If you're not in an office environment where all your friends and coworkers are going to judge you and that scares you, like, whatever works, right? But if you work from home, add a little bit of movement when you can. It can be basic. You can do a couple of squats. We're not trying to build muscle in those 2 minutes. We're trying to add a little bit of movement to help you feel better, to help energize you, to help you feel like you have a better relationship with movement. All right, so that you want to do it more. When you remember that taking a couple of seconds to do some ankle circles, when you do a couple of seconds of little knee bends, when you do a couple of seconds of lunges, and you're like, my legs feel so good afterwards, that is really good because oftentimes we associate getting a little bit of exercise with a whole bunch of burden, with a whole bunch of time that we don't have, with a whole bunch of excuses. And if you can start to shift that relationship you have with moving a little bit in the more positive direction, it's going to make everything a little bit easier. All right. That's the gist of why I make that content. But I also make some other content. I'm trying to get stronger myself, and I'm trying to get back into calisthenics. And part of calisthenics, and part of why I've always loved calisthenics, is kind of having less equipment, having it easy to get started, and also because I like to show off and have cool skills. All right, teenage me has not changed very much from adult me, and I have a couple of quick tutorials over on YouTube showing a couple of quick skills that you can practice from a beginner stage. All right. Those three moves are the frog stand, the crow pose, and the elbow lever. I'm gonna do a quick demo of what they look like, and if you think there's something you want to try out, those tutorials are over on YouTube. The frog stand looks a little bit like this. We're gonna get into a deep-ish squat-looking thing. It doesn't have to be crazy deep. We want to stick our elbows sort of into the butt crack between our calf and our thigh, right here. Do that on both sides. Open up those legs nice and wide. We're going to point our index fingers up into the air. We're going to spread our hands. We're going to stick our hands straight into the ground. Nothing fancy. Just fingers up, hands down. All right. Once your hands are down, you're just going to lean into the hands and you're going to figure out where your balancing point is. It will not be easy if it's your first time. You'll be a little confused. You might be a little scared. You might feel like your face is going to smash into the ground. Get a little bit of a cushion. Get a pillow. But once you figure this out, you'll be like, oh, hey, this wasn't so hard. And that's because you're balancing most of your weight on your elbows, right? Your forearm bone is just going, or I guess there's several bones, there's two bones in here, is going straight up and is carrying all of your weight, all right? It's not muscles holding you up in a crazy position. You're just balancing your weight on your elbows. Cool? That is the frog stand. Once you get comfortable there, you can upgrade to its big brother version, the crow pose. The main difference is instead of resting your elbows into that butt crack between your calves and your thighs, you're resting your tricep on the flattest part of your knee that you can find. The knee is quite bony, so take your time, figure out where it's comfortable. And once you have that positioned, you might have to bring your arms and your legs a little closer together because if you're super wide apart, you're going to be a little bit weaker. So once your new position is nice and tight and compact, you're going to stick your index fingers up again, open up those fingers, stick your hands down into the ground, lean forward, and boom, crow pose. The main difference here is that knee positioning. But what changes is your hips are going to be much higher off the ground and your face is going to be much closer to the ground. The crow pose is really awesome because it's a great transition point to other cool moves like handstand push-ups, handstand presses, like so. Boom. And oh, oh, you should definitely try those out. That's a roadmap of skills you can start working on. Final skill, because I'm running out of breath and I'm running out of energy, is the elbow lever. It's my personal favorite because it looks the coolest of the three moves. All right, you're basically doing a plank, and you're balancing the plank on your elbows. All right, when you get stronger, you can push, you can do cool things, you can lift, you can do a little dance, you can do a little shake, you can swim, and the elbow lever looks the most intense because you look like you're floating in the sky. All right. Whew. But if you can do a pretty decent plank, you're probably also strong enough to start your elbow lever. All right. You might not get into the situation where you can lean forward and shift your weight all over the place, but you can definitely start the elbow lever because the principle of what your body is doing is basically just this. Whee! And if you can plank, if you can hold that, you're well on your way to being able to do this. Cool? All right. I think I saw real quick from Alec. Can I do a one arm push up? Yes. Am I going to be able to do one right now on the spot? I don't know. We'll find out. Should I face this way? It's been a long time since I've done one. So I hope I don't make myself look too bad doing this. Let's go. All right. There is a lot of different ways to do a one arm push up. I subscribe to an organization and a style that is called Strong First. I'm not particularly strong in the Strong First ecosystem. I'm like an outsider observing in, but the way they teach the one arm push up looks like you're doing a regular push up, except with one hand. All right. A lot of the rest of the internet will treat the one arm push up as sort of like this cool, kind of fun skill where your arm is like way out over here on the side, and you're like, man, I've been doing the other one for so long, I can't even pretend to do uh the internet one. Hold on, something like this, I think, like way out here. Push that arm up. Your chest is like way up here. There you go. I think I know what I'm talking about. Open up the legs wide, and you're like, oh yeah, cool, oh yeah, oh, and your whole body is at that diagonal, right? Uh, that is what I typically associate with like bros trying to show off. Um, I tend to try my best to do it a slightly different way where it looks a lot like a regular push up, but you're doing it with one hand. And it requires a whole bunch of things that show up a little bit differently. One of them, oh man, I'm so tired now. One of them is the core, right? When we were talking about the elbow lever a few seconds ago, we were talking about that plank position, right? When you are able to control that plank and you're able to hold that plank really, really well, when you do that one arm push up, you're just holding that plank, all right? The way that I was doing it the second time, where my one shoulder was way up high and one shoulder was like doing the push up, and I was basically in this position, the whole entire body is rotated. You're losing all the power in the body, But because your body is rotated, it's much easier to push off just a portion of the weight. And uh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain this more clearly because I haven't thought about the push up in a really long time. Um, there are lots of ways to do a one arm push up. Most of the internet, most of the videos that you'll see on the one arm push up is going to be more, how do I say this, sloppy looking compared to a regular two arm push up. All right. And all of the training that you do for the two arm push up, including keeping your body strong, keeping your core tight, keeping your glutes flexed, really focusing on powering up through that motion, tends to get lost in the way that the one arm push up is demonstrated in a lot of the internet. And uh, that means that a really strong, hard version of the one arm push up can be much, 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 much more challenging than the version that you see most of the internet doing. And what I'm going to wrap this up with is if you want to train without weights and you want to get to a really high level of strength without training with weights, the one arm push up is like a really good exercise. And it's good because it doesn't just train, your arm and your chest or whatever doing the one arm push up. It trains your whole entire body. And there is an even crazier version of the one arm push up that requires full body tension and full body strength. And it looks a little bit like this, where you're keeping your core incredibly tight and you're balancing one leg and one arm across from each other. And when you do the push up, which I can only go down on because I'm not nearly strong enough to finish, you get crazy amounts of strength and tension in the body, and you can crush a sick push up from that position. Anyways, I'm getting progressively more tired and sloppy now. All right. All right, where are we going with this? It is 84 minutes into the live. I hope you guys had fun. I don't know why we went down the one arm push up rabbit hole and why I had to go brag about my cool way of doing it and not the bro way. Bachi says, stay up. All right, let's see. I think I get it. Rotation tension in the spine might be talking out the ah. Um, yeah. When we do the one arm push up, I like to try to make it as similar to a two arm push up as possible, basically, and or in appearance. When you're actually doing it with one arm, there's a whole bunch of force that wants you to rotate, that wants you to twist because all of your weight is getting shot out through one arm, right? Um, and you're just contracting your core, you're just staying so strong, so tight that the rest of your body is not moving or is moving very, very, very little, as little as possible. And that's what's going to make a really intense one arm push up. If you just let your body rotate and just let it do crazy things, you'll just have kind of a lumpy looking push up. And that's fine for most people. If you're just doing it because you're like, checklist, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But if you are really serious about trying to build strength at home, without weights, without extra stuff, you can take that push up to a one arm push up into a one arm, one leg push up. And by the time you're able to get that, there is so much strength in your body and you have so much control staying so compact that it will be crazy. If you're curious what I am referring to, if you want to Google on your own, the organization is called Strong First. Their principles are something like uh, uh, keep it simple, stupid. Essentially, they're like very minimalist in their training programs, I feel, and a lot of it is about building strength as the priority. And it operates under the concept that if you are strong, you'll naturally have endurance. If you can bench press 100 pounds, then doing 45 pounds will be fine. So if you focus on 100 pounds and 150 pounds, then for a long time, the endurance aspect will just grow with it naturally. And then at some point, if you need to be an endurance athlete, then you can go do endurance specific training. But for most people, you got to start with strength. That's why their company is called Strong First. Uh, do, 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 the like originator, I guess the founder of that organization, I've been following his work since like 15 years ago. So I have seen a whole bunch of evolution in the concepts. The one arm, one leg push up is from that time, 15 years ago. And clearly, I haven't done very many in the last couple of years. What else? So that's something for you if you want to Google more about the one-on-one leg push-up, the one-arm push-up, the strong first push-up, and full body tension, staying very strong, staying very contracted, staying very compact. Do, 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 do. If you go onto the website, the first thing you're going to find is they do a lot of stuff with kettlebells. There's a small portion of the website that is about body weight. I care mostly about the body weight stuff, and I don't care nearly as much about the kettlebell stuff. But their main thing is the kettlebell stuff. So you might find something, you might not. They have forums. You can go Google and you can go enjoy those. Cool. All right. I'm gonna scroll. I'm gonna look at the chat. I'm gonna try not to run over the dog here with this stool. He has fallen asleep perfectly right here in the middle of the floor. And let's see what else we got. Alex 400 says strong first. Yep, they make it one word. Alex says I need to work more on balance. Thank you. The hand placement and form helps. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can talk about the one arm push up for a little bit. I've cooled down now, so I think I'm a little bit more ready. Um, the way you can start training for the one arm push up, the way I like to do the one arm push up, is going to look the same way you start training for the two arm push up, right? Do I have anything remotely tall enough to make this easy enough to do for reps? No. Okay, so I won't worry about that. There are lots of different ways. Do I even have an angle? If you have your two arm push up locked down, you're trying to clean up your one arm push up, you can do things like elevate one arm, right? If you focus on keeping the core real tight and you focus on contracting the core, contract those hips, contract the glutes so that this whole entire midsection of your body goes and locks into place, it isn't going anywhere, that is going to massively help that anti rotation, that stability. And if you have this arm directly under the shoulder, like you would in a regular push up, and you open up those legs nice and wide, the wider your legs, the less weight there's going to be in your arms, the easier it will be to drop down. All right, so you can go and just focus on the negatives, and you can focus on bringing this elbow in as close to your ribs as possible. The closer your arms are, the easier it will be to sort of clench down, to rotate, to generate force out of this armpit, out of your lats, out of your back, out of all the muscles here when you push. And that will make a huge difference for cleaning up your form. When you are working on that, you can start to play around with a little bit of support on the side, right? And I'm gonna open up the legs. Wow, when I was training one arm push-ups, 15 years ago, uh, my legs didn't go nearly as far. So this is kind of crazy. It feels different. Okay, when you're doing this, you can use your other hand for support, for balance, for help, and it can make things a lot easier. You don't have to just beat yourself up with one arm push-ups. Um, you also don't have to do them on the floor, right? You can elevate this front arm and change the angle so that, oh man, this is gonna be crazy. I don't know if I can do this. I might suffer more on this one because I'm nervous that the stool will slide out. So how do I get enough pressure into that? Oh, okay, that's not so bad. Anyways, if you elevate that arm in the front and you're able to get enough grip with your feet, so put on sneakers, put on some grippy shoes, or have your feet against the edge of the wall so that your feet can't slide back, and make sure that whatever you're using to elevate your hands does not have the opportunity to slide all over the place. Maybe put some weights in front of it, some dumbbells and things to keep it from moving. Once you do that and you start getting more comfortable, feeling safe and strong in that position, it will make your push-ups a little bit easier. Oh, I'm out of breath again. And I demonstrated a whole bunch of right-handed one-arm push-ups. I'm a little nervous now to show you what my left arm one-arm push-up looks like. Okay. Ah. And on the topic of balance, the closer you keep your arms in together, the easier it will be to balance. A lot of people have like one arm way out here when they're doing that push up, and having the arm way out there is going to make you want to lean even further out to when you're doing the push up, right? So keep it tight, keep it compact. That will help you generate strength, and that will also help you maintain your balance a little bit. Because leverage, the longer the levers, the harder it is to harder it is it's gonna feel. Does that make sense? Or doing the standing pancake, we extend the arms. Even though the weight is the same, because the weight is further away, the lever is longer, it feels more intense. Same thing with the push-ups. If your arm is pushing out way over there and your whole body is leaning way over there, it's going to feel harder for no reason. Okay, tuck arms in, kind of keep the elbows near the torso. Yes, if you can, try to keep it contained towards the torso. I know a lot of push-up tutorials kind of tell you to go for like this 45-ish degree angle back and forth. I generally recommend a little closer, almost like you're gripping something in your armpit. When you really like try to hold something in your armpit, this is a bad example, but I'm gonna use that example. When you really try to hold something up in your armpit, and you can, I guess, use a dumbbell if you want to experiment, you feel, you might feel that you're able to hold a whole bunch more tension. You can feel really strong in this position. This set of muscles in this armpit, in the back, in the lats, this like tension right here, when you tuck your elbow in, is able to generate a lot of force. And it is definitely a skill thing that you're going to have to learn. But if you do the armpit grippy thing and you focus on trying to do a push up with that, try it out a couple times. See if you suddenly feel like, oh, hey, look, I'm so much stronger than before. Because hopefully that's what happened. Um, that same principle of trying to imagine that you're holding something in your elbows will apply to pull-ups, will apply to all sorts of other movements, because there's a whole bunch of muscles here in the back, in the shoulders, that when you get them to work together, to collaborate, you can get really, really, really strong with. I think that's about as much detail as I can get into because I haven't thought about or looked up any of this stuff in a very long time. Most of my attention is on doing side splits these days. Alex says, I was just thinking pull ups, it feels the same. Yes, exactly. It applies across a whole bunch of skills. I made a video a couple of, I think 2 weeks ago, about how the plank or a version of the plank is an essential skill for calisthenics because you're really learning how to keep your whole body tight and in a strong position. And once your whole body is locked up and tight, you can move it a little bit more easily, right? Like when you try to pick up a floppy baby and they're like all over the place, it's harder to balance. It's harder to like hold them, right? Like everything is just a little bit more difficult. But when you try to pick up a kid that's like working with you and is tense, you can like throw them around and it's just easier to move them. If you don't have kids or if you don't have nieces or nephews, this will be a little bit confusing. But when something is solid, when it's tense, it's much easier to pick them up and it's easier to move them. And it's the same principle when you're trying to do stuff with your own body. If you are staying super strong, super compact, super tight, it's going to be much easier for you to balance. It's going to be much easier for you to figure out like the lean, the leverage. As soon as you get scared in a handstand, for example, and then your legs give out because you're like, oh, I'm scared to straighten out my legs. Uh, that that's like floppiness throws off your balance, and then you start falling, right? So same same principle. When you are floppy and you're not in control, you're not holding that straight line, it's harder for you to predict and adjust to accommodate the floppiness, right? Where your leg is going to be at, wherever it's going to be, floppiness, versus when you get really good at holding yourself straight and you're like, oh, if I lean this far forward, I can adjust and I can tweak, right? So one is just being consistent and stuck in place enough so that you can make adjustments versus the other one where you're just kind of lumpy and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And you're just trying to figure out how to balance, right? Boulder baby versus limp cat. Sure. I don't know what that means, but awesome. I'm glad you know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. I'm gonna scroll back up into the chat and see if there's some old comments to reply to. I think I saw Chareth said, "Thank you, thank you for being here, Chareth. I appreciate it. Super consistent. Why waiting? Way back early in the live said, absolutely, we need this. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I think it's your first time in the chat, or first time I've seen your username in the chat. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed the live and all the talk about push-ups afterwards. Swigline says good evening. Welcome back, Swigline. Good to see you. Ladan, True Beauty, says, first time meeting you, this is great. I'm very happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're in the chat, and I'm happy that you're jumping right in and doing it. Because you also followed up with, so I'm holding the chair, table, and the ground when I'm doing this. Chair, table, and the ground. That's more limbs than I expect you to have. So are your feet carrying some of the burden? Um, I wonder what stretch we're doing. This seems to be pretty early in the show. Live session on hamstring stretches. Comment if you're feeling stretch. Oh, okay, got it. You're holding the chair, the table, and the ground when we're doing the hamstring stretches. That makes total sense. And that's because there's a whole bunch of angle, there's a whole bunch of movement when you're trying to get your hamstring stretch. When you're first getting down towards the ground, having something to hold on to for balance, super helpful. When you're actually starting to fold, when you're trying to make progress, when you're trying to reach deeper into the ground, having the ground to hold on to, having the chair to hold on to is also going to be super helpful. So that makes 100% sense. All right, I'm going to keep scrolling. Where are we at? Queen of Hair has followed the live creator. Thank you. That's awesome. We keep scrolling. Chareth says, I still use assistance sometimes, so that's okay. We all start somewhere. I mean, I'm using assistance all the time, right? Whenever I do hip cars, I'm holding onto the wall every couple of rounds, or I'm just stopping altogether, or I'm flopping all over the place, right? There's nothing wrong with assistance. Assistance is going to help you hold yourself in the right position so that you can focus on the right things. Uh, in the hamstring stretch, if one of the things I say to do right off the bat is if you feel like you're off balance, to widen your legs, right? Once you widen that legs, you have a wider stance, it's easier to stay strong, stay balanced, and easier to fold forward. This is a form of assistance, right? If you were perfectly strong and crazy strong, I guess you could just stay here. But everybody's going to need a little bit of help one way or another, and it is totally normal to need to make adjustments to help yourself out. Because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to make progress, right? So, yeah, exactly what Charlotte said. All right, scroll some more, 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 scroll some more. What else we got? There's a big chunk of just notifications from TikTok. Oh, Autumn Days says, oh my God, the stretch is unreal. Still pretty much standing, but feeling it. Still pretty much standing, but feeling it. Oh, might be the pancake, the standing pancake. Good. The standing pancake is definitely rough. Rough, rough, rough. Rough. But pancake is really good for you. There's a lot of folding and stuff going on. The pancake has always been my worst stretch. Not it's the one that's made the least progress on this show because I hate it. I know I need to do it. That's why I do it, but I don't do a great job of doing it. So I've been forcing more and more and more like focus on it and intensity for myself in my own practice of the show. And my pancake has gotten significantly better over the last like 3 weeks because I've been really prioritizing it. Um, the pancake is hard for most of us. It's a whole bunch of different reasons why it's off, right? One of them is most of us aren't able to open up our legs all that wide, right? Most of us get into a situation where because we sit in front of stuff all day, our legs want to be bent, like we're sitting in a chair, our back is hunched like this, and the first thing that we do when we try to fold forward is we turn into this big old like lumpy rounded thing, right? That none of those things are going to make your pancake easier, right? Your pancake is open legs, it's straight, it's folding your belly button down towards the ground with as close to a straight back as you can, and is literally the opposite of all the things that we normally do, and that's what makes the pancake hard. Uh, we do the standing pancake because that is the version where gravity can pull you down the most, but it's not the easiest version to get into. And the easiest version to get into would be to sit on something a little bit higher. The stool might be a little bit too low if it's your first time. When you're sitting on that stool, it takes a whole bunch of pressure off your hamstrings. It'll be easier to straighten out your legs. And when you're elevated like this, it'll be a little easier to let gravity pull you down into that deeper stretch, right? So if the standing pancake ever feels a little too crazy for you, feel free to adjust and do a seated version. And now that I've explained it to you, you know exactly how to get into it. Cool. All right. Fanny asks, my ankle pops so bad every time I walk, and it's loud, but it doesn't hurt. Why? I don't know. I got no idea. But if it doesn't hurt, I think most people would say something like that's probably okay. Um, but if it's popping really loud when you walk, you probably want to figure out how to strengthen up your ankles. There are some tendons in your ankles that, once stretched out, are very unlikely going to tighten back up again. And that might be related to why your ankles are popping, but I wouldn't know. You might want to go check with a physical therapist, somebody whose specialty is figuring out why bodies make sounds, because they'll have some better expertise than me. But in general, having stronger ankles does not hurt. And how deep do I want to go into stronger ankles? I think that's as deep as I'm going to get into stronger ankles. Stronger ankles might help, but also go find somebody with more expertise because it's not me. All right, what else do we have in the chat? Bachi says, "Bless you for sharing. Thank you. I hear that. Been doing the frog from last time. It was insanely good enjoyment. Amazing, Bachi. That's so cool. Okay, I can't believe I didn't see this earlier. That's so cool. That's awesome. Keep trying the cool moves. It makes you feel younger and makes you feel alive, and then it makes you feel so happy when you get something brand new. The frog stand is one of those moves where it looks scary, it feels intimidating, your face is getting close to the floor, you feel like you're gonna fall, you're in this whole new like angle of trying to figure out how to balance. And when you get it, it's gonna feel really good because you're unlocking a whole new set of skills, right? Like I said, you can elevate that with your hips higher into the crow pose, and then you can throw your hips even higher into a handstand. And those all come from getting comfortable, sort of having your face really close to the floor, sort of leaning over your hand. I hope you're enjoying the frog stand. All right, what else we got? What else we got? What else we got? Shareth said, I'm struggling with the frog. It's something I want to work more on. If you have a specific area in the frog where you're struggling, let me know in the chat and I will try my best to break it down a little bit more for you or throw in slightly different variations for you to try. Let me know. Okay, Life with Lala says, can you please show a beginner start point where our foot placement should be for? Oh, oh, snap. Okay, sorry, I didn't see any of these. I went to the top of the chat. Um, for the frog stand, you've gotten a lot of tips and advice from our other crew in the chat, and they've also sent you over to find the YouTube video. So if you have already disappeared, that's okay. I'm going to explain a little bit more about the frog stand anyway, because there's interest, and I said I would help answer questions if people come with interest. Um, I generally recommend you figure out what's comfortable for you to do. All right. The frog stand is particularly nice because you can get really low to the ground. And when you're low to the ground, you can also like kind of spread out a little wider and you can kind of experiment. I don't say this in the YouTube video because it kind of like adds too much detail to the experimentation. For most people, just trying it will be more effective than trying to tweak it a little bit. Um, But since I'm presuming that you are going to go watch the YouTube video, we'll add a couple of like interesting little things. All right. The frog stand, I want you to be able to rest in almost. I want it to be super chill, super relaxed, so that you can take your time to figure out how the balance works. Because you don't really need that much strength in the frog stand. There is a little bit. You have to keep yourself stable and you want to stay in control and your muscles need to fire. But you're not actively like lifting your body off the ground. You're resting your body on your elbows, right? So I recommend that you stick your elbows here in between the calf and the thigh. Just kind of keep it nice and snug and pinched in there. It's usually soft, it's usually cushiony, it's usually got plenty of stability for you to focus on just the balance. All right. What I don't want you to do is to get into a situation where your legs are slipping off of your arms, where you feel like you have to lift your hips up because that is working too hard. You really shouldn't have to. In the other versions of this pose, like the crow pose, you do. You have to lift your hips up to help stabilize. But for the frog stand, you basically just want to let your knees hang out on top of your arms. So if you can, I recommend that you try to bend your arms quite a bit, right? From this angle, I want you to have almost a nice shelf for you to rest your thighs on. And if you can get your thigh nice and deep onto it, that would be awesome because that will help you feel more stable, right? I recommend the butt crack because you kind of have to like stick it real deep in there to get there, but you might not have enough hip mobility to get that leg up so high to actually get it in there, all right? And if you're struggling a little bit with that, you can not go as deep. You can rest your elbow sort of at the top of the butt crack, just where the knee goes in a little bit, right underneath that bulge right here in the front of the knee. There's like a little divot between this part of the knee and that part of the knee. If you can stick your elbows onto that and lean forward, that will also be fine. It requires a little less hip mobility. You don't have to open up your legs as wide. Uh, is there anything else? The feet. You asked specifically about feet positioning. I like to open up the hips nice and wide that way to rest my hands on it, right? Like you would imagine a frog going woo, jumping, right? It's called a frog stand because it's got that sort of shape. And when you're standing and dropping into this position, your feet are pointing very far out to the left and right. It's not just 45, it's probably closer to like 160 degrees. And how would I show you that? It looks more like 160 degrees. You don't have to. You don't have to go that deep. If you can stick your elbows in, you're probably fine. But the wider you're able to go, the less pressure there is for the knee to go shooting down, right? Because we don't want you to slip off of your elbow. If your legs are really close together and you're like this, your knees will slip off your elbow, right? But if your knees are really wide apart and your hands are really wide apart, they're gonna be sort of like hanging out at this angle versus hanging out at this angle, right? When it's coming down off of this, it's going to be much easier for you to stay put than if it's coming down off of something a little straighter. So the wider you can open your hips, the easier it's going to be to get in. At this point, I feel like I've just repeated a whole bunch of things a bunch of times. So I'm going to look back at the chat and see if I need to rethink some explanations. Ken's question, that floor and socks, foot loose. Start with Pike from the knee. Also check out his YouTube. His channel name is Splits on the Side. Thank you for the compliments, Chereth, on the content. And then that's when the one-arm push-up came in. Oh wow, I went on a huge one-arm push-up tangent without seeing that. Okay. Wider stance, less weight. That was still push-up content. Chereth says, thank you, Ken. Tuck arms in, kind of keep the elbows near the torso. Yep, that's still push-ups. And similar to pull-ups. Okay. Alec 400 says, "Bless you to whomever sneezed." Lovely, thank you. And Alec wants pancakes. All right. Super, 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 super long live. I think we're going for 2 hours. Oh, a whole bunch of comments came in over on YouTube that I have not seen. Good Vibes Forever says, reporting in from the foam rolling before stream. It was definitely a good pre warm up, but I'll have to do it more to see how it affects long term. Awesome. I'm glad you feel good after it. I was thinking about doing more dynamic warm up before the live and maybe doing a couple more kicks, some floppy things to get the blood flow pumping, to get the muscles loosened up. Um, but I figure I should just do them all with you guys on the live because it would be disingenuous if I spent like half an hour before the show doing warm ups and go, "Hey, look how effective this show is." And that seems not very right, even though nobody would probably care, but I care. All right. So thank you for reporting. Thank you for trying the foam rolling before the stream, and keep on trying it. Let me know how it goes. All right. Let's see. Samsung TV 7330. If you are still on YouTube, let me know. We can keep on talking Pistol Squat. If you are off, then we will not talk about more Pistol Squat. I think that is all the comments over on TikTok, and that is all the comments otherwise on YouTube. And I think we are 90. No, wait, how many minutes in are we? We're 110 minutes in on the live. We're almost 2 hours deep. So I think it's time for me to get ready to wrap up. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in, asking awesome questions. Great engagement today. I love it. Gets me super excited about the live and gives me stuff to think about because I don't think about push ups very often. Alex says, "Good night, Ken, everyone. W stream, always consistent." Love it. Thank you, Alex. All right. Thank you, Teres. Thank you, Alec. Thank you, Che. Thank you, Travel with Roxy over on TikTok. Thank you, Queen RR on YouTube. Good vibes forever. And anybody else who is a super regular who I have maybe forgotten about, I'm sorry. But I appreciate you all for showing up, asking awesome questions, participating in the chat, hanging out, practicing consistency. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, beginning of your weekend, and I hope to see you in a little bit. Our next live is in really soon, 10 hours. I need to get to bed. 9 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning. It's basically the same show if you're new to the live, and we will be here working on some side splits tomorrow morning. Cool. And also tomorrow night. So Monday through Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and then on Saturday and Sundays, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So we got two shows on the weekends, two shows every day of the weekend. So it's four shows on the weekends, and that means I need to wrap up and go to bed so I can recover for tomorrow. All right, it's good to see you all. I'll see you in a little bit. I'm closing out. Goodbye.